Hi guys, it's Kamau. Welcome back to my channel. What I'm doing right now is I want to tell you about some of the most memorable students that I've worked with over the years. Now, I've been teaching for over 25 years, and so you can imagine I've taught hundreds of students. And they're all special in their own way. So I don't want any student who's watching, if you don't hear your name, don't feel left out and don't feel like you're not special to me. But these are just the ones that stand out in my mind, and I wanted to share with you the reason why they stand out. I'm going to start with, well, I always group these two youngsters together. Whenever I'm talking, always put them together. It's like they're twins. Kimora and Drayshawn. No, they are so special to me. They both came to me at, I think they were both 4 years old. And at our school, the Kemet Maasai Academy, we have a special system where the students do work that is generally at their level, their grade level, as well as advanced work, right? So our grade 6 students would be doing CSEC, 3 CSEC subjects, which in the Caribbean, the CSEC is typically done in grade 11. So as part of our regular program, the grade 6 students do 3 CSEC subjects. So naturally we have to start them on this advanced course from they just start, like from 4 or 5, we start introducing them to the basic concepts of algebra, graph, geometry, that kind of thing. That is how our program runs. It's a special program. You know, it's not for the faint of heart. Completely regimental, and we really push our students to excel. So Kimora and Drayshawn were both 4 or 5 thereabouts when they started the course. And you know, they very quickly caught on to the graph in particular. They were plotting coordinates on the graph. They were plotting linear graphs, quadratic graphs. They were doing basic algebra, simplifying and so on, substitution. When they were 6, 7, you know, and they got better and better and better. Now, Kimora left, I think Kimora was 8 when she left the school to migrate. Drayshawn is still with me, and now in grade 5, and let me tell you, he is blazing. That little boy is blazing away. In grade 5 now, and doing, you know, CSEC, multiple choice. Yesterday I gave him 80 multiple choice CSEC, and he earned 90%. CSEC mathematics, right? So definitely working on him. And these two children are so special to me because of the fact of how quickly they grasp. You know, there are other students in the program, of course, and you know, they're doing their thing, but Kimora and Drayshawn just stand out. I have published 3 graph workbooks so far, and the first one, volume 1, I dedicated to Drayshawn and Kimora. There are, as you turn the page, the first page, their picture is there with their holding up their graph. That's how special they are to me in that regard. The second student I want to big up, I'm just gonna call her Miss T. If she's watching, she definitely knows herself. So back in the day, you know, before we became more narrowed, because I used to teach everybody at once. I don't even know how I did it looking back, but in those early years, I had 6-year-old in the class. I had every age up to 50s, because this person I'm telling you about, she was in her late 50s, I think, when she was with me, and she was doing mathematics, human and social biology, and English. I think she did, I'm not sure if she did social studies as well. Typically, the adults who came to my school, they did 4 CSEC subjects, right? So Miss T was just She was the oldest one there, clearly, in the class with youngsters, 6, 7, 12, and a couple teenagers. And she made herself at home. She was not daunted by what any of them would look at her and say, what's she doing in the class, you know, at her age. She was just so focused, did her assignments, did her home study, and Miss T passed all those subjects in her 50s. And she migrated and went on to further her studies abroad. So when she came to me, she was a practical nurse. She's now a registered nurse practicing abroad. So I always have to big up Miss T for her perseverance, for not being daunted. Sometimes she would be a little depressed, you know, if she wasn't grasping something easily. You know, just everybody goes through that kind of thing where you just feel daunted in just a little bit for a little while, but she would always bring herself back around, and never stayed discouraged. So I'm very proud of Miss T, and she's still there working now, doing her thing abroad. The third student I'd like to share with you is Armani. So Armani came to me a couple years ago. He came in the last half of grade 4, and he left 2 years ago in grade 6. So Armani, one of the sharpest, most intelligent students I've ever worked with, one of the most focused. He was just so focused, and his mom was very supportive of him. And Armani was involved outside of the school, he was involved in chess, he was involved in the spelling bee, and did very well in both of these areas. And through this school, he passed 3 CSEC subjects at age 11, math, English, and human and social biology. At age 11, passed all 3. He got a 1 in human and social biology. So I have to big up Armani, you know, because he's really special to me. He just did what he was told to do. He was focused, he studied. His presentation was, when he got projects to do, presentation was outstanding, impeccable. So Armani will always be special to me. Another student I'd like you to know about is Nick. Now Nick came to me, I think he was about 30 years old. A neighbor came to my gate one night and said, I'd like to introduce you to this young man, he really needs some help. And you know, Nick had taught himself to read. You know, he's from the inner city, didn't get much schooling, so couldn't read, couldn't do any math. And before he came to me, by the time he came to me, he had taught himself how to read. But he couldn't do basic math, and so we had to start from scratch. Addition, subtraction, long division, that kind of stuff. And Nick is just the most driven adult student I have encountered. The most driven, the most determined. When he went to work, he would take his notebooks, he would study at work, he would study at home, he would watch videos, he would everything to improve himself. And he didn't watch who was in the class and who was looking at him. And you know, because you know, some students, even though you tell them be kind, the fact that he was so far behind, because he was doing things that they were like 11, 12, and he was doing things that they had passed 2, 3 years ago. And he was struggling with it. And now, I mean, he's not where he needs to be, but certainly way ahead of where he was. And he's continuing the journey, and I say power to you, Nick. I took part in his wedding a couple years ago, and I had to go up and give a speech. I had to use the opportunity to go up and tell everybody what a great student he was. You know, I was invited to take part in his wedding, and I did that. I had to big him up, you know, and let everybody know. Now, Javiel and Taquena and Arisa. I'm putting those three together because they are related. They came together. Javiel and Taquena are twins. Arisa is their cousin, right? So they're migrated now, no longer living here, but they were just the most vibrant girls, always laughing, always, talking, always dancing. They're just so full of life, full of energy, and they are really missed. I really miss those girls, the twins. I've had my share of twins, teaching twins at the school, but those girls stand out because of how vivacious they were, just so full of life. I have 3 more students to share with you. This particular student, I'm not going to tell you his name, because I would say this student was the most challenging student I've ever encountered. The most challenging for me to deal with. The most stubborn, the most determined, the most disruptive student. And this is a 9-year-old. This is a 9-year-old, right? Very disobedient, very disruptive. When he decided he wasn't gonna do something, it would ruin the whole day. It could ruin the whole day if you let it. It could disrupt everybody, take everybody's attention off their work, and it was just him. Now, it was clear to us that he had issues, right? So he was going through therapy, going through assessment. Ultimately, they determined that he didn't really have any, it was clear to me he had no learning disability. A brilliant boy, brilliant, very learned, very interested in science. He would teach himself things, expose himself to things, but he had behavioral issues. So they were working on that, but at the same time, he was just being too disruptive for the class. And eventually, I had to ask his parents to take him off my hands, because it was one of the toughest decisions to make, because he's so brilliant. He has so much potential. But I had to weigh the fact that he was being disruptive and a very bad example to the other students in the class, and he wasn't getting much done either, because when he told himself he wasn't going to do anything, he just did nothing. And then another time he would just come with the attitude of work, and he would get so much done. And he would ask, if it's verbal, he has no issue. He would ask, he would participate. Once it's writing, once it's anything else, no. And the funny thing about him, we would have a rough day, where we just at odds, and then he would come back the next morning and you get the biggest hug, the biggest smile. It's like, I used to tell his dad, it's like every day is a fresh start for him. It's almost as if he didn't remember anything that he did. You see him coming up the stairs with the biggest hug waiting for you and the biggest smile. And I remember his dad was saying, it sounds good, but his dad said, it sounds good, miss, but it seems to me that's kind of a sociopathic behavior. To be able to erase all memories of the wrong that you have done, and wanting others to erase all memories of what you have done, and greeting them with a hug as if you did nothing wrong. So his dad was saying, that's kind of sociopathic. I was so sad when I had to let him go, and I'm hoping that, with continued, counseling and therapy, he will pull through those issues. That brilliant boy. He gave me he didn't even know he was leaving at the time when he gave me a gift. It was probably for I don't remember what occasion, or maybe he just appeared with it. He said it reminded me of him. It was a canvas with a blown up picture of a bacteriophage. Now he knows, he's interested in science, right? So he knows he knew what it is, he knew it would interest me, and he gave it to me. And really now that's all I have to remind me of him. So I cherish that canvas. The next person I want to share with you is Grace Ann. I call her Gracie. She was, I think, in her late 20s when she came to me. And Gracie she was doing 4 subjects with me. She was so focused, so the most helpful students. Always trying to see to it that other persons understood what was happening. She would go around, explain to them, give them resources, photocopy stuff, and share it with them, you know. And for that, I always tell her, Gracie, you're my best student. For that, because of how helpful she was. And she passed her subjects and migrated to and doing very well abroad. So I want to big up Gracie for that. Now, Tiana is a student. She has challenges, you know. So she at 18 was doing work that's maybe a grade 5 or 6, particularly in the math, because she has, you know, challenges learning certain topics and subjects. And the thing I like most about Tiana, she is just so confident, so full of life, so ambitious. You know, she doesn't allow any challenge that she has to stop her, to limit her ambition, to limit her socializing. She is just so confident. And Tiana, if you're watching this, I wish you all the best, and you're going to be missed. The last person I want to share with you is Joshua. Joshua is leaving. He's in grade 6 now, moving on to high school. So Joshua came to summer school last year, and you know, I guess his mom saw the improvement that took place in summer school. So she said, when she told me that Joshua would be joining the school full-time, I actually was fretting. I told her this 2 days ago. I said, when I found out Joshua was going to be full-time, I was fretting, because in summer school Joshua, he was fighting, busybody, talking, just giving pure trouble. And I was saying to myself, what am I going to do with this boy when he comes full-time? I had my hands full with the student that I was telling you about further up, and I was saying to have another one. And you know, Joshua came, and Joshua has made a complete turnaround. He's a model student in so many ways. He still has his challenges, academic challenges, but he is now more sober, not getting into fights anymore. Joshua initiates things now. He'll do things that I didn't even tell him to do. You know, I'll come and he says, oh miss, for example, sometimes when I give them, we watch movies together, and I will say, okay, write a report about the movie. Sometimes. And then we might watch another movie, and I didn't tell him to do it, and Joshua comes, miss, I wrote the report, would you like me to read it to you? That's the kind of person Joshua has become. Since the COVID lockdown, we've been having online classes. If I am late, as a matter of fact, I don't even have to be late. If we must log on at 7:30 and I'm not there by 7:25, Joshua is calling me, calling my phone, miss, where are you? I don't see you I don't see you online. Because this is the kind of transformation he has made, you know, and I have to big him up for that. And I have to say I'm going to miss Joshua. Luckily, he just lives up the road. You know, so he told me the other day, Miss, I'm going to still be taking mangoes for you, because he has made sure I got my mangoes, because you know I love mangoes. Right through the lockdown, he would come with his mask and give me my mangoes. So he said, Miss, I'm going to high school, but you're still gonna get your mangoes. I'm truly going to miss Joshua. I miss all these students, all of them, and the hundreds that have passed through my hands. You know, I've helped to mold them. I know I have impacted them in many ways. They have impacted me. They have taught me a lot, right? And if you didn't hear your name called, guys, you are special. I cherish you just the same. And take care. I'll see you guys later.